Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. This is not actually going to be a movie review. I'm actually going to do a top 5 list of my favourite films of all time. Now, a few of you guys have asked in the past what my favourite movies are. You guys know what my favourite horror films are. I've made a few subgenres in the horror sort of department where I've explained my favourite films, but as far as film in general, I've never really done anything like this, so I thought I'll take the opportunity now to actually do that. I've had a little bit of a break from watching movies, considering now I'm actually quite up to my neck as far as work is concerned, but don't worry, the reviews are going to come back, but every now and then it's always good to have a little bit of a break. So while I'm having that break, I'm going to do a top 5 list of films from any genre and movies that I believe that you should go out there and watch. I know that there are a lot of movies in this list, although it's only 5, I'll actually be doing honourable mentions, and I'm pretty sure that you guys will actually get a few new titles here because no one really ever talks about them. And that's the beauty of foreign film, is that you watch movies that you really didn't know exist, and when you actually open your eyes to that, you become sucked into the world cinema and you actually appreciate how good it is, and it broadens your horizons and you realise that there is more to cinema than just mainstream Hollywood. So I'm going to get straight into it with honourable mentions. These are movies that didn't quite hit into the top 5. Now, the problem with creating a top 10 is that there are a lot of movies that chop and change. Now, yes, the top 5 could change, but these are 5 films that I believe wouldn't really go out of the top 5, but they could change the order from time to time, depending on what my mood is. But the others are movies that I believe are absolutely brilliant and stand the test of time as far as cinema is concerned, but not quite good enough to really crack it in. So I'm going to get into it straight away before I actually take too long to make this video. I don't want to ramble on too much, so bear with me. We're going to get straight into it with honourable mentions, and the first honourable mention is Gaspar Noé's Irreversible. Now, this is a movie that the reason why it didn't enter my top 5 is because of the replay value. This is a movie that really does suck all of your energy out. It creates this certain sense of depression and it just hits you over the head with a sledgehammer. This is an absolutely brutal film. There's only 2 scenes of violence, but those 2 scenes of violence are far greater than anything you'll ever witness. This is a movie that doesn't rely on gore. It doesn't rely on basically cheap tricks. This is a movie that just pries your eyes open and forces you to watch the ugliness and humanity. And when the ugliness in this film combines with the beauty, it just makes this earth-shattering experience that I cannot watch more than once a year. And that's the type of director that Gaspar Noé is that he's a guy that is showing you ugliness, and the way that he does it is very realistic and it's very, very hard to stomach. So be very careful going into Irreversible. It's a movie that will upset a lot of people. It upsets me, but I just appreciate this director for how brilliant he actually is. So that's Irreversible, my first honourable mention. So the second honourable mention is another Gaspar Noé film, and this is Enter the Void. Now, this is different from Irreversible. This is more of a film about drugs and redemption and about when we die, what happens after that. It's a very psychedelic film. It's a movie that does hit you on very high-end themes, as is the case with a lot of Gaspar Noé stuff. He's not afraid to actually provoke an audience, and I think Enter the Void was very close up there with Irreversible as his best film. A lot of people didn't like it, but for me, I just thought it was once again very, very good filmmaking and a shocking filmmaking without actually trying too hard. And so that's Enter the Void. Another honourable mention, we have Dances with Wolves, starring Kevin Costner, and this is one of my favourite westerns of all time. This is an adventure epic. I watched this so many times as a kid. I loved it. I loved the soundtrack. I loved Two Socks, the wolf in the film, and Kevin Costner's character was great as well. It's a movie about crossing borders. It's a movie about breaking down those boundaries between cultures, and when this Kevin Costner's character interweaves with the Indian culture, I just thought it was fascinating. I just thought it was very heartfelt. There are some very sad moments, there are some funny moments, and there are some epic moments as far as battles are concerned. It basically has everything that you want from a Western film, and so it's Kevin Costner's masterpiece, Dances with Wolves. Now we've got M. Night Shyamalan's masterpiece of Signs. Now, Signs on the outside looks like a very silly film about aliens and about whether or not we're alone in the universe, but deep down it has a very mature sort of theme, and that theme is, do you believe in God? Are there such things as coincidences? Do things happen for a reason? And all that makes you think, and all of a sudden the silliness to the film actually makes sense, and it actually makes it a deep and meaningful experience. And a lot of people don't like M. Night Shyamalan because he's made a few films recently that haven't been very good, but I love the fact that he actually got back onto the horse with Split, which is a masterpiece as well. Didn't get into my top 10, but that was a great film, but I believe that Signs is M. Night Shyamalan's best. So that's it. That's all I'm gonna go with as far as honourable mentions. Or actually, no. Before I stop that, I have to make a mention of Mary and Max by Adam Elliott. This is a claymation feature from this Australian director. It's about depression. It's about loneliness, friendship, innocence, and that was a movie that it starred Philip Seymour Hoffman as a voiceover, also Toni Collette, Eric Bana. So a lot of very well-known actors actually contributed to this film, and it's Adam Elliott really knows what it is to tug on heartstrings, and so I thought that was a movie that I will never forget as well. So that's Mary and Max. Okay, so now we're going to get straight into the top 5. Now these are films that I believe are absolute masterpieces and I will watch over and over again. So I'm going to go straight through. I'm going to go number 5 is Green Butchers. This is Anders Thomas Jensen's masterpiece. This is about two people who go into the business of meat, and they're selling meat and they're basically struggling, and so they get fired from their boss, and so they decide they're going to make their own business, and their own business is absolutely booming because they've got this secret recipe. And when people realize what the secret recipe is, it starts to go down a very dark avenue, and what that dark avenue is something that you're going to have to find out. But I love this movie. I love the humor of Anders Thomas Jensen. He's an absolute genius. He's a Danish director. If you haven't checked out his films, you've got Adam's Apples, Flickering Lights, Green Butchers, and more recently Man and Chicken. All of those films were absolutely brilliant, but I believe that Green Butchers is his best, and it does stand the time, and it goes into my number 5. Number 4, we have Thomas Alfredson's masterpiece, Let the Right One In. This is a movie I reviewed not long ago. This is a vampire film. It's about innocence. It's everything that Twilight really should have been. Now, Thomas Alfredson recently has got into the news for all the wrong reasons with The Snowman, which is starring Michael Fassbender. I didn't believe that it was as bad as everyone says it was, but it wasn't a good film, especially considering how good this guy can be with Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and now obviously Let the Right One In, which is his first film that really got him recognised. And this is a movie that I absolutely loved. It was tragic. It was beautiful. It was everything that you want in an experience. It was very funny in some areas, and it was also very brutal and quite scary. So he mixes all these genres into make a horror film that you will not forget. Number 3, we have a movie from Iceland and Norway. This is a co-production. This is called The Bothersome Man. Now, there is a theme to my top 5, and the theme is depression. Now, I've been through depression. I'm still going through depression and anxiety, and I think The Bothersome Man symbolised that in a very unique and very quirky way. This is a movie that has reminiscent qualities of The Truman Show. It has other qualities from other films that you've seen before, but it makes it its own flavour. This is a movie that's not copying anything. It's not plagiarising anything. It's very, very funny, very dark, and actually quite shocking in parts. And at the end of the film, you'll be actually discussing it. You'll want to know what this movie's about, and each and every one of you are going to have different interpretations. So this is something that foreign cinema do so well, and none better than The Bothersome Man. So that's number 3. I thought that was absolutely brilliant. Number 2 is a movie from Alfonso Cuarón, and this is called The Children of Men. Now, this stars Clive Owen and Julianne Moore. This is a movie at the end of the world. Women can't give birth, they're infertile, and now they're going to have to try and cope with the consequences. But unfortunately, Clive Owen, his character, is stuck in the middle of a very tricky situation when he realises that a woman is actually pregnant. And if this gets out, and that a lot of people are going to want to get to this lady to preserve the life. And so in order to protect her, he has to actually get her across a very dangerous land in order to wait for a boat that is coming to pick her up. And so this is fraught with danger. I thought this is a very clever film. It was beautiful once again, very haunting. I thought the acting performances were great, and it's Alfonso Cuarón's best film. So that's number 2, Children of Men. And number 1, this is a Swedish film. This is a movie that I watch time and time again. This is a movie that I don't believe can get knocked out of my number 1, and that is Roy Andersson's Songs from the Second Floor. Now, I'm sure you guys have never heard of this. I'd never heard of the film before. My good friend from Sweden sent me this film, and when I watched it, I could connect to everything this main character was going through. Once again, this is a symbolisation of depression and how hard it is to get through some stages of your life. And what this guy goes through, once again, it combines humour, it combines tragic sort of themes, and it's a very sad film, but you can't help but feel uplifted by it. And so although I'm in a bad mood, I might put this film on and it'll make me into a better mood, is because this is a guy who understands what depression is, and he molds depression into a character that was both very funny and also very soul-searching. And as I said, you're actually going to have to talk about this movie after you watch it, because there is a lot of ambiguity to it, and that's something that I absolutely adored, and that's the reason why Songs from the Second Floor from Roy Andersson, Sweden, is my number 1 film. Alright guys, that's it for my video. Hopefully you found a few new titles in there. As I said, it's a very different looking top 5. I don't watch foreign film just to be different. I just watch foreign film because there are movies in this, like in this list, that are absolutely unforgettable, and I believe that they're better than mainstream Hollywood. So overall, yeah, as I said, go out there and see them, and thank you very much for watching. So until next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.